Hello guys, how are you doing there? So here's number two of closing the deal, the second craziest deal I've ever went through, but got it done. So it was a few months ago. I was helping a buyer in this situation, and it was like we were barely able to get the buyer approved. Like the whole situation was like we needed concessions and stuff to help with closing costs, and all they really had was like 500 bucks. That's it. We're utilizing the first time home buyers program, and so they're very low on the liquid cash. But I was doing the best I can to get them in there. So we sent an offer on a house. We asked for them to pay for inspections and appraisal and everything, all that up front and whatnot, and then also give us like a concession of like $3,000 or I believe it was something like that to pay for the rest of the closing costs, so they wouldn't have to come out much besides the $500 that you need minimum for the first time home buyer. So we needed that at least, and they had that. So we're going through the process, and the buyers, they recently both just lost their jobs and then got jobs like during the loan process. So it was like a whole situation of like, even if the loan company was able to like deal with that, so we had to like write a letter of explanation because of the job switch that they did in the middle of the loan application. So it was bumpy and like barely being able to get that through, but the underwriter passed it through, thankfully. So they were barely still qualifying. We continued the loan process, and the sellers decided not to pay for the inspections cost. So we went through that process, and they weren't able to pay for the inspection costs, and they were able to come up with the money last minute, and I was there to help them out with very little bit of it, just to get the deal done, or else obviously we wouldn't be able to get the inspections done. So we went through their inspections, came through good. We didn't ask for much for them to repair, and so we were barely making it. We had to push closing up like half a month because of the job switch. They needed 2 months of being employed, so we needed to push the freaking closing back a whole another half month to meet that deadline. So pushing it through there, barely got everything done, and then finally the underwriter needed one more thing. It was 12 months of proof of rental that they were with that they were currently with, or where they were at. They were renting for 12 months. They needed proof from the landlord that they were there, because now they actually just got kicked out of there, or like they left, their lease ended. So they're actually in a hotel right now. So like this needed to be done. Like this needed to happen, or else they'll be homeless. So they're in a hotel right now, and they needed that one letter. The underwriter sent it to the people, the landlord, but the landlord did not like the buyers whatsoever. The buyers didn't like them either. So the landlord was like, "F no, we ain't signing shiznit," and no, we're not helping them. We're not signing, even though they did live there for 12 months. They weren't gonna agree to signing nothing. So I was like, this freaking paper's not gonna like stop this deal from happening. I'm like, there's no way. I was like, I consulted with everyone at my office and stuff. I was like, should I just go there and ask them to do it myself? I was like, because if not, they're just gonna leave the paper there. Nothing's gonna happen. I was like, so I like sucked it up. I was like, you know what? Give me their address. I asked the buyer. I'm gonna go to that lady's house and ask her if she could sign it. And the night before, I was actually reading a book about negotiation and influence, and I was like, okay, like the law of reciprocity. And I was like, okay, I need to go in there with value. I can't just ask her to sign this paper, right? So I go in there prepared with at least two things that I could offer her before she offers me one thing of signing that paper to get this deal done. Literally the last thing we need. So I go in there and I tell them, I'm like, hey, I'm like, please, I'm like, help me get this deal over with. I'll help you guys like just like move on to the next part, like, and there's no bad blood between you guys. Let me help you move on and stuff. And she's like, no, let me show you how they like left the house and stuff. So she like showed me, and she started venting about that. And she's like, my mom lived here and stuff, and they like messed the place up. And I was like, yeah, just agreeing with her and stuff. And I was like, yeah, totally. And she was like, yeah, they like left it like this, and I'm just like mad about it. I don't want to help them. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was like, well, what are you gonna do with this house? She's like, oh, I was thinking about selling. I was like, you know what if I bring you a buyer? I was like, I'll bring a buyer today. I was like, because I have a few investor friends. I was like, if you sell it for a good price, I could probably get it done today. I'm like, so I'll help you out there. I was like, if I could bring a buyer for you, I was like, will you sign this paper? She's like, I don't know, da da da. And then she was like, they were also late on their rent the last time, and they still haven't paid a portion of it. It was like 500 some bucks. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, well, what if I pay that portion of the month's rent too and bring in a buyer? I was like, for you today. She's like, oh, okay, well, I'll think about it. So that was in the morning. So I went back in the afternoon, and I actually did go with an investor friend. He made an offer, but it was too low for her. And then I was like, okay, well then what about tomorrow? I'll probably bring another one. She's like, okay, I'll think about it tomorrow. Oops, sorry about that. Um, so I was like, yeah, so she's like, I'll think about it tomorrow. So I went the next day, went with another buyer, and I was like, okay, if I do at least two things for her, I was thinking in my head, she has to do at least this one thing. So I kept bringing that up. I was like, see, I brought two buyers for you. I was like, and I have this money cash right now. I will pay for the last month's of rent. If you just sign that paper, it doesn't hurt her if she does or does not. It's like, if you just sign that paper. So we looked over the house, and my buddy didn't want to make an offer on it, but I told her, I was like, I'm helping you out here. I was like, I'm doing these two things for you. I was like, you gotta at least like work with me with this one thing. Just sign your signature. That's it. And then eventually I pulled the money out because I was like willing to pay for that because I'd make the money back anyways with my commission, you know. And then I'm not letting these buyers live homeless, you know. I'm not letting this last freaking paper end the deal. There's no way. I was like, so I used that law of reciprocity and I used the two things, and I was like, okay, she has to at least help me with this. So eventually I was like, I'm doing these two things for you. I made it very blunt of what I was doing to help her. I was like, so can you help me? I was like, don't think about them. I was like, you're helping me. So then eventually she caved in. She's like, okay, ended up signing the paper. And I was like, holy crap. So I got the paper, freaking threw it in the mail, sent it to the underwriter, got it approved, and we closed that like next 2 weeks. It was like the last day of the deadline. Freaking out, never had such a natural high in my life. And got it done, and now they're in their house, them and their whole family and their few kids, the husband, the wife, and got it done, guys. So it was nuts, let me tell you. So yeah, we ended up getting it done, and they're still in this house today, and one of the very most proudest deals that I ever got done. So I hope you guys like that story, just telling you the efforts of sometimes that some realtors will do, some people will do for others, just in general, you know, to get stuff done, go out of their way. So I hope you guys like this story. I'll be coming out with more for sure with how this business is. So if you guys ever need my help buying or selling, you know, I'm always here to help you out, and I'm going to make the full effort to do that for you. All right, guys, have a great week. Love you guys. Bye.